Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Sometimes you don't know everything about a situation, obviously, or not everything, but you're not allowed, or simply don't have access to all the information, relevant information that could help you reach a conclusion. But even if you don't have the evidence, there are some circumstantial, evidence that could help you figure out, or at least have an idea of what the hell is going on. In Ukraine, I don't have the evidence to say that there is a purge. Purge initiated, conducted, planned by the guys in charge. I don't know at whose orders, but I don't have the evidence, hey, we're going to do this, okay? I haven't been in the room. I haven't been that little fly on the wall listening, okay? So I don't have that information. But I'm not an idiot, and I can look at patterns and look at frequency and certain things that are out of the ordinary under certain kind of situations. And by comparing the same, comparing with another example next door, which is Russia, you see a discrepancy, and you wonder what's going on, and you most likely reach some conclusions based on that. What am I talking about? I think that Zelensky, the president of the Ukrainian people, he is very much inclined into a tyranny spectrum of leadership or power. That's how I see it. And how do I figure it out? By looking at what he's done. Obviously, these guys are covering and giving the benefit of the doubt, and they give all this how should I put it, interpretation of, okay, he closed this Christian denomination. All right, there were some guys who were spies or something, or they did not, they were on the Russian side. So they gave you the why he did, but he closed it. He closed certain political parties. He closed them. The justification, Zelensky needed because those guys were with the Russians. Okay, then he changed some things with a newspaper and with the radio and with television. He closed them, the mass media, again, because they were sending propaganda, and he had to do all that. All right, next one. What was next? The next is certain chiefs of certain departments just dismissed. Pam, pam, pam. He's not going to touch Klitschko, because Klitschko, I think he's on German's violin, so he's not going to touch Klitschko, the mayor of Kiev. That's the only reason Klitschko is still there. He is popular, but they can say he committed treason and so on, as Zelensky tried, remember? And I think the Germans told him, and the Americans, hands off this guy. And then Zelensky said, okay, all right? So there are patterns, and you can see these patterns. So in education, they said, the Russians, no more Russian language, no more Russian poets or artists or anything like that, no more Russian music, no more Russian books. Because it's also the Russians are trying to, change our culture. Things are, and they say, yeah, that we want to be clean, and they gave it a number. I can't remember whatever name they gave to all this. But this is a purge against one nation, and in the name of this war, he does a lot of things under the disguise of martial law that he keeps extending, and the other guys are saying yes. He said, you can't leave the country, the officials, unless my office said you can. Again, these are tyrannical moves, infringement of many freedoms, liberties of the Ukrainians. The reason, the boogeyman, it's a war, I'm in charge, I'm defending you, and I'm a good person. And I'm a good person because they say so. Okay? So what happened now? It's very strange that all these things happen in Ukraine, which is at war with Russia, but these things do not happen in Russia. The Ukrainians are arresting every 3 minutes a guy who cooperates, who is on the Russian side. Collaborators, they call them. And they charge them with treason, high treason, and all that. Too many. Too many. I'm going to give you examples in this video. Now, that doesn't happen in Russia. How come? I thought that's the tyranny right there. But somehow there's not over there a purge. Oh, those generals, the 3 generals that we never heard. 3 generals. How many were already kicked out here from the security services, from certain oblasts? Do you remember? You don't even know the number. And I'm going to give you 2 examples here, actually 3 examples in this video, just to make my point. I don't have the information. I was not that fly, beautiful fly, the green fly that likes shit, you know. So I wasn't on the shit when they had the meeting in the shit, you know what I mean? I wasn't over there to listen or to smell it. Now, let me show you the first article here. The first article comes from Ukrainska Pravda. And this is, brace yourselves, from the September 22 of 2022. So it's from a lot of months back. Ex-Major General of Ukraine's Security Service sentenced to 5 years in prison for calling to overthrow Ukrainian government. That's what they say. I can't verify that. They say he was calling to do that and he's a bad dude. And probably if I go right here, they're going to say he is a traitor, he did this, he cooperated, conspiring to use the mass media, blah, 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 blah. Okay, he was found guilty. All right, now we're going to go to the next article. Remember this, look at the title, because the next title is going to be like 80% the same. Ex-Major General of Ukraine's Security Service sentenced to 5 years in prison for calling to overthrow Ukrainian government. And this guy's name is, so you don't, he was Alexander Tretsiak. Okay, he was sentenced in absentia for 5 years in prison. Okay, now we go to the next article from, again, Ukrainska Pravda. Remember, ex-Major General of Ukraine's Security Services sentenced for treason. This is Monday, 14th of August, 2023. This guy who was really fucked up right here. You can tell he was roughed up, let's put it this way. So ex-Major General, this guy, and this is not the same guy, ex-Major General of Ukraine Security Services sentenced to. This is the same, and this is from September 22, with this ex-Major General of Ukraine Security Services sentenced to treason. Who's this guy? This is Valery Shaitanov. So this is not in absentia. He is caught by these beautiful people. So another guy, he was sentenced, has been sentenced to 12 years in prison after being found guilty of treason, an attempted act of terrorism, and possession of ammunition. Why? He was not supposed to have ammunition as a ex-Major General? I guess not. So this is the former first deputy head of the SSU Special Operations Center Alpha, was found guilty of treason, an attempted act of terrorism, blah, 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 blah. Now you tell me, do you know? Obviously he was investigated, he was everything, because that's what Ukraine does. They're, you know, like, 2 examples, and I'm going to give you another one. 2 examples. Do you think that, how come all these guys collaborate with the enemy? Why? Why? Just because they're Russians, they're paid, the Russians are so good to buy them? What is the reason? Or this guy, Zelensky, wants to get rid of people that are uncomfortable to him. Could that be? Remember everything I told you before, with infringing free speech, which is mass media, freedom of religion, and so on. Political parties. Just by patterns, by examples. I don't have the evidence. The blue fly or the green fly, whatever I am, on the shit, did not hear anything. And I got one more article for you, and this is, I would like to focus on one word. All right, this is the article. Again, the Kiev Independent. Zelensky. This is the word I want you to focus on. All enlistment office chiefs. So all chiefs to be dismissed in Ukraine. This guy. All. That's the key word. Why all? How could possibly be all? All, and he wants to prove to the West that they are corrupt, and he fights corruption. That's the whole reason. But all? How did you figure out all of them? Did you investigate them all? But he gave the order 2 days ago. This article is what? From 2 days ago or so? This is from August 11th. August 11th. We are in August 14th. So, how is it possible? Or he just, to show those guys got 1, 2, and say, fire them all. Would you like that? Let's say you are a supervisor, or I don't know, let's say a supervisor in a business, and let's say you are 20 supervisors in that big corporation, and the guy gets two that are corrupt, and he fires you all. Wouldn't you ask, whoa, time out, Zelensky? How can you fire me? Well, we fight corruption. Did you find me guilty? Doesn't matter. All of you out. What kind of attitude that is? The big leader or a corrupt leader, tyrannical leader? I think tyrannical leader fits. Remember, all these things are given to us by the Ukrainians. All these articles are from Ukrainians, the New Kiev Independent, Ukrainska Pravda, not by the Russians. But they think that we are so dumb and we just buy it the way they want us to buy it, that they give us the information. I don't have to dig. Yahoo gladly provides me with this. And I'm asking this question. Wait a minute. What do you mean all? What do you mean another ex-general? What do you mean another from security services? How come all these guys? I'm not going to dig deeper, but you can find out, I think, about 600 officials were, I would call them purged in the past, I don't know, year or so in Ukraine, all collaborators. Man, these are good. Don't you think? They fight corruption. They are the incorruptible. Remember, what's his name? Robespierre? How did Robespierre end up? Guillotined by his own people. I'm not saying anything, but this guy is not a democratic, freedom-loving and all that. And you got to make deal. Put this in the context of Russia, because I said you can compare it. Something like this happens over there, and if not, why not? Now, you think about it. Why not? That's the tyrant, Putin. Here is the great guy, Zelensky. No, Zelensky is not a great guy. Zelensky is a great guy for certain interests. Unfortunately, the Ukrainian nation is by this guy who's playing those interests. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.